everybody, it's Teresa with 3sticksin.com, and I'm here with my final ornament for my cozy Christmas bundled up Christmas tree. I could not walk away from this tree without doing some kind of a blanket ornament. They're such a huge part of our family life. We are always cuddled up under a blanket on the couch in front of the television. That is like our family sport. So I had to have some kind of a blanket representative, and I'm a quilter, so guess which kind of blanket it had to be. But I had to keep it small because I've got a lot going on this tree, and I think they are so sweet. So because it's tiny, and there's lots of tiny little squares, it might seem a little intimidating, but I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it so that anybody can make this. If you've never made a quilt before in your life, you can make this, I promise. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is cut a bunch of strips of the fabric that you want to use that are 1 inch wide. I prefer to do this with a rotary cutter and a ruler and a self-healing mat, partly because I'm a quilter and those are quilter's tools, but also because it's just the easiest way to get a precise cut and a straight line. But if you don't have any of those things, it's not worth going out and buying them just for this craft. Just be careful and use a pair of scissors. Okay, so I've got all of my little strips here, and so they're cut 1 inch wide, but they're long strips. And this is what's going to save you a ton of sewing and a ton of dealing with these tiny, tiny little squares, is instead of cutting them again into little squares here, we're just going to sew all of these long strips together. So that looks like this. Okay, so you'll have all of these long strips, and I made myself a bunch of different versions so that I was offering some kind of variety in my quilt pattern. You know, I arranged this in all different combinations, and then once you get them cut to this, once you get them all sewn together in strips like this, then and only then do you cut across to make your squares. So this saves you like 5 different tiny little seams that you're not going to have to worry about. It's a huge time saver. So once you cut those little pieces, it looks like this. Whoops. Like this. Okay, so this is your row of your quilt. So you can really make these any size. There's no hard and fast rule, but I made mine 5, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 rows high and 5 rows across. So when I made my big strip pieces, I did 5 of these little 1 inch strips, and then I cut them in 1 inch blocks and sewed 5 of those together to make this. So once you get these all sewn together, you're going to want to iron it all. That is a crucial step in quilting because you don't want any puffy seams. You want those all lying flat. So give this a good firm ironing. Oh, and I didn't even mention that at this step. You definitely want to do that before you cut your 1 inch blocks too. You want to iron all of these little strips flat, because if your seams are puffy, they're hard to measure. You know, they'll each lay at a slightly different width, but if you have them ironed, then they won't go anywhere. You can be more precise that way, and of course it'll just look better too. So once you get this ironed, then you just need to put your backing piece on. Here's what mine looks like with the backing piece sewn on. I just cut another piece of the fabric in the same size as my quilt ended up being, and then sewed that on just like we've been doing over and over again for all of these ornaments. Leaving a space open at the bottom so that I can turn it right side out, reinforcing the stitches there, going around, and see, you can see the tails of my little ornament hanger hanging out. There's my loop, so I've reinforced there, come all the way around and reinforce there. And so now I can turn this right side out. Here's my little quilt piece, all turned right side out. And so now I'm going to stuff it, but I'm not going to use just the regular stuffing I've been using. I actually cut 2 pieces of polar fleece, because these will lay nice and flat. And so I don't want it puffy, I want a flat blanket, but I do want some dimension there. So I used polar fleece since I had plenty of it lying around, but if you have quilt batting, that'll do the job too. So I cut them so that they would be 1/2 inch smaller than my quilt, so that once I turned it right side out, it would be able to fit inside. And so now I'm just going to kind of roll this up and stuff it inside that hole we left, and then try to flatten it back out so that the corners lie in all of the corners. Go, I've got that all fiddled with, and now it's lying flat. So it's time to close this up, and I am just going to fold those raw edges into the center and then do a little line of top stitching all the way around, and that'll not only close it up but make it look really pretty too. Here it is with the top stitching. Now you could stop here, but I love the look of a homey tied quilt. So I want to add a little embellishment. I've got this crochet thread, which is the same that I used for our ornament hanger, and I just got it threaded on a big needle here. And what I'm going to do is go, I think I'll do it in these 5 blue blocks. I'm just going to go down through the top and then back up right next to where I went down, like that, and then tie those 2 pieces together into a knot. Here's the finished ornament with all of my knots in place, and I think that those knots just add the perfect finishing touch, which is perfect since this is the finishing touch for my cozy Christmas tree. So thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for joining me during this holiday season. I hope I gave you tons of ideas and inspiration and a little shot in the arm to try to make something yourself, because I know you can do it and it makes everything so much more special. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. You do not want to miss what this tree finally ends up looking like. And once we start the new year, I'm going to have so many more ideas that you're not going to want to miss. So thanks for watching again, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.